Okay. Okay, none of it was coming across earlier. Okay, that's fine. Fast and Furious micro recap. So, yes, Lee, she, her, playing Bullet de la Rue, he, they, and he, Matthew, playing opera, Matthew, he, him, playing opera, he, him as well. Angela, she, her, Patch, playing Patch, she, her, Ashley, she, her, playing Pixie, she, her as well. I'm Jonathan, he, any, your game master here as we go off to a completely without any hitch, beginning to episode 8. There were facts and they were fun. Life is exciting and fun and good. As far as the recap of the previous episodes, the more in-depth recap, unfortunately, may have just been lost to time. I am recording this as well. Seems unlikely, but possible that the audio from the beginning was captured in the recording. So if so, then I'll get to cut all of this out when I edit it and upload it to YouTube for the VOD. But if not, then here comes the Fast and Furious. Last time, they fought they had just beat the Gainsaid, including a very humiliating death from Jather. They fixed their car right up to get back. They snuck past the active crime scene line to get to Maverick, who was pinned under some car debris that, due to some quick skill checks, the clock was ticking, but they found him. They were able to stabilize him, move him, and with a critical success surgery check from Patch, able to get Maverick back up to speed and running. Is on the road to recovery. You were questioned by the security force as to what happened with the Gainsaid, but that fell a little, and of course, and during that week as well, Opera had a little bit of therapy. But the big news, kind of on the front here, is that there's a lot of civil unrest growing in Echo Center. Part of me wishes there was a way to have this background music at 2 times speed to sort of reflect the energy that we're putting out right now, but. The big issue is that there's a lot of unrest growing in Echo Center. Not that they loved the Galakites to begin with, but with this attack by the Gainsaid, in which the security force did little to nothing to protect the city and its people. People are using that as a rallying cry. Very much they're not here to protect us. We're dead unless we do something about it. So there are now outright protests against the security force and the Galakites who are in control of them and who technically are in charge of everything. So yes, the unrest is currently sort of the momentum being harnessed and led by the Emissaries of Tomorrow, which is a faction that you're aware of, but pretty they existed, a bunch of doomsayers with all but picket signs saying that the end is nigh. But now it seems like they are using it as a rallying cry of the end is nigh if we don't do something. Amongst these protests here, you went to the gardener, you got paid for bringing back the VR technology, and he was very, very happy with you. Opera got therapy, and yeah, you all did your hustles. Opera got a visit from Comet, one of the other members of the Technohemian community, who is sort of, seems to be one of the leaders in said community of convincing these Technohemians to join this movement from the Emissaries of Tomorrow, because even though they are artist colony, they are a tech-forward artist colony and feel like they might be the next victims of the Gainsaid here. Patch learned that her brother Scratch is starting to turn his life around, albeit in the employ of the Emissaries of Tomorrow, which seems fine. Everything is fine. Why do you ask? It's up to Patch to decide how she feels about that. You paid a visit to the security force center, particularly Pixie did so to try and use some of this information that they uncovered about the Gainsaid to leverage her family out of incarceration. Was not super successful, as Captain Weston of the security force seemed to be not really cooperative on that front. And of course, the last hook that we had was that on the public scream sheet, the one released by the Galakites, the one usually full of propaganda that you don't particularly pay attention to, pardon her computer, brought to your attention that this article came out in the Scream Sheet that the Margot family had been, they were awaiting trial as far as you knew, but suddenly they had apparently not only been tried, but convicted of smuggling, espionage, and sedition. And here in this moment, to catch us back up to the present, the last bit that we were playing is that since Lee was not able to, Lee/Bo was not able to join us last week due to some nightmarish work things, we are doing just a quick rewind the clock, flashback retcon of what Bo would have been up to during some of the events of the previous episode. So in particular here, you're going to have to say what you said again a moment before here, Bo, but you said you wanted to, there has been some history of Bo greasing a few palms within the security force to get them to either like look the other way or whatever to make sure that Neon Garden is not, it like runs fine and is not shut down. So yes, let's just start that interaction right over. Bo, so we flash back to as Pixie is exiting this security force house. What do you do?
All right, so kind of there was two things. There was, as we're leaving, Commander Weston, who's the higher up guy, after Pixie got a little spicy with the last bit of talking or whatever. Mm-hmm. Bo, like, basically, I would assume it's some form of Venmo at this point. Like, nobody actually carries around physical money.
Yeah.
But it basically, like, he quickly, like, pulls up his agent and just says, like, and quickly, like, I guess, pings, like, 100 EBs to Commander Weston's agent, and it just says, like, reimbursement for something or whatever. And you know, reimbursement for drinks at Neon Garden or whatever. And it in the subject line, it also is like, come back to the Neon Garden anytime, drinks on me, mm-hmm. or whatever. And just as a way to be like, we're cool, please don't come after my friends for being understandably upset about that her family is all incarcerated right now. Mm-hmm. And then on the way out of the building, where Jessup presumably is still out there kind of dealing with whatever, mm-hmm. I would just like pull him aside and just say, like, you know, there was some, so because we didn't have audio, there was some established lore that mm-hmm. some higher ranking commanding officer of some sort, not Weston, but a different one, does come by the Neon Garden semi-regularly, and I would assume there's some sort of agreement where I just don't, like, anyone is welcome as long as they're cool and are not causing trouble. But it's also, like, I think a nice thing to know that, like, Bo has that knowledge that this guy comes by and gets up to stuff.
Yeah.
So he's going to pull Jessup aside and be like, and just say, like, hey, I need to speak to you, whatever we want that commander's name to be, or whatever his rank is. And just say, like, please let Jimothy Rando know that I would like to speak to him, and that it's urgent. And so I would like to use, hopefully, that connection to maybe get some information fast forwarding, now that we know mm-hmm. that her family has been convicted, is that what you said?
Yeah. Like,
or
they're
found guilty, yes.
Yes, have been found guilty, correct.
So I think Bo is then going to use that meeting maybe set up or phone call or probably not a phone call, so it can't be well, he's got the scrambler thing. Some sort of phone call just to get some information on that now, as opposed to trying to get information on how he could get the family out of, or at least one person out of prison, trying to figure out what the hell happened with this trial. Yeah. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense, yes. So yes, even though that we in the future know that they have been convicted, here in this flashback, yeah, like it still behooves you to kind of work your connections, like maintain those within the security force. So catching up with these rolls, the D10 here, that 6 that you can see on your chat you can see on the screen, that was a luck roll, a fortune roll to, with that 6, it was determined that there was, in fact, a somewhat higher ranking member within the security force who is one of the regulars at the Neon Garden. It's, you know, the lower down folks are a little bit. Some of them do time to time go to the Neon Garden. That's, you know, it's a little bit of a mutual, like, you know, they look the other way for some of the stuff you do. You look the other way of like letting these security force go in, which most people in Echo Center are not comfortable around. And with that 6, it was, but higher ranking, not so much. There is really just the one, which in this case is Captain Zenner. Captain Zenner here, Zenner. They are the one who visits the Neon Garden on occasion here. So let's deal with one thing at a time. So this bribery check here that we rolled moments ago, this 12. So that is going to involve you. So at least as described, the skill of knowing when to bribe someone, how to approach them, and how much to offer. Yeah, you called out 100 EBs. If this were, yeah, we might handle the bribing and stuff like that a little bit differently in the future. But for now, with that 12, we'll say that you use your agent here. Yes, like no hard cash is just not really a thing. So yes, it's on your agent here that you're able to like cyber Venmo over to the captain there. And with your Scrambler Descrambler, yes, you're able to do so on the hush hush with not so much of a paper trail. But with that note, go give me a human perception check.
Human perception. There is not one. Oh, there is. Okay.
Well, that's weird. I saw the die roll across my screen, but I don't see the result.
Huh. Hold.
Technology is fun today. I guess try again?
Let me see. Where did my screen go? I have my... My cat is screaming at me. Okay, hold on.
Oh, there we go.
It says 18.
Okay, it finally decided to pop up. A human perception and 18. Pretty good. I will say with that. Ooh. Perfect. So once we get out of this flashback, I just see that Spider JJ here, in addition to, thank you, yes, resubscribed a moment ago, a little while ago. I forgot to bring that up with some of the other things in stream, but thank you for resubscribing, as well as completing the community challenge. So Friend Computer's settings are going to change. Friend Computer, aka Partner Computer, who's just, here for a good time, it's going to change, but we're going to address that in a moment because we're still in mid-flashback. With this 18 human perception, I would say the door is kind of closing here as Pixie goes out. You act quickly. You dash up this note and send the EBs out to Captain Weston's agent. And in that moment before the door closes, you see that he pulls out his agent, looks down at this notification, and you see kind of like a scoff as he immediately puts it back into his pocket. So with that, it would seem that you were able to glean that based on that 12 bribery roll. You don't see him give the 100 EBs back, but you're not entirely sure that that has been very effective with him specifically. But yeah, you can. So Jessup is back here in front of the building here if you'd like to chat with him. You said you wanted to ask him about getting Captain Zenner's attention?
Yeah, so, yeah, I'm going to pull him so we're not, like, if there's, like, a little kind of a side to the building where there's not, like, protesters, but there's not, like, other security people necessarily either. And just say, like, hey, Pixie, I'll just be just a second, and pull Jessup over and be like, hey, Jessup, I need you to do me a solid, please. I need you to give a note to, was it Captain Zunder?
Yes.
Okay, to Captain Zenner. It is of utmost importance, and if this message makes it, if this note makes it to him, you will be rewarded for your efforts in a monetary fashion, or whatever fashion you would like. If you want to come by the Neon Garden, we can accommodate you however you would like.
Okay. Let's make a bribery roll here. I'm going to say the DC on this one, or DV, excuse me, is going to be easier than the previous.
Okay, I did end up putting, because I had 120 improvement points from our other game, and then we had the 60 that we got from last game. So I put 2 levels. I didn't use all of them. I used 100 and whatever math, 130 to up my bribery by 2, since
okay,
that was the thing I needed to do anyway.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. The way that your business runs, that makes a lot of sense.
Cool. Alrighty. Fingers crossed.
All right. So with a 17, you see that Jessup looks at you. What is just a message? That's it? I think I can.
Just a real simple one.
Okay. I think I can handle that. From, passing along the words of a concerned citizen. Yes, that falls within my job description. And to clarify, the message you're sending
along.
And
you were so good at...
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, the message just is literally a note that said, this is... oh, gosh. I give me a call. We need to settle... give me a call. You received some mail that was misdelivered. And Bo.
Okay.
And it just is that, but it's in like it's just written on a sheet of paper or whatever. Because I know, like, I don't necessarily have his like agent number or contact to his particular agent, unless I was like, presumably I was like, for the money transfer, I assume it's just because we're standing near each other. It just does like a close by transfer. But yeah, so just a way to kind of get in touch with them. So I'll do that. But also, as I'm handing him this, and just like, because I know in the last game, people were giving Jessup a lot of shit for being kind of a dumb, not dumb, it sounded like he was not particularly great at his job, but he was kind of trying to be like a good guy who's helping the people or whatever.
Yeah.
So just kind of to help grease a little bit more, just be like, yeah, man, I appreciate you doing this good one for the citizens of Echo City. We really appreciate the work that you do. And hey, man, give it time. I can tell you're going to be the next, Commander Weston.
Well, I honestly, part of me hopes not exactly like him, but appreciate. Yes, this. You see that he sighs here, and now being a little bit closer, you can see that his eyes are a little bit bloodshot. It has been a busy few days within the security force with all the things that are going on here. And I mean, for what it's worth, he at least seems to be less entrenched, a little bit more helpful, or at least more along the lines of what the security force is supposed to be doing than some of the higher ups here. I appreciate it, and I'm glad that at least we can still talk like this. I know it's been a little while since I visited the garden, but it may be a little, even though I could use it now more than ever, it might be a little while before I can make it out there.
Hey man, don't hey, look, you look rough, and it sounds like maybe Commander Weston's not the nicest of fellas, for real. And Bo looks over his glasses to you, hey man, you can just come by to talk too. I know these things can get rough, and there's a lot of upheaval right now. So, I was kind of...
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you want to come by for a drink, we also do massages. We can do some sleep therapy, whatever you need, man. But also, if you just need someone to talk to, just come on by. You can chat with me, and we can, everything off the record, whatever.
He looks around for a moment again, and then... That sounds nice. We'll see what we can do. But in the meantime, yeah, this message, I can take care of that.
All right. Well, take care of yourself, man, and get some sleep, all right?
Yeah. That's the biggest dream of all right now. All right. And he walks back and has promised to deliver this message here. As far as greasing another little palms here.
The thought being, if I get that call from Captain Zenner, then I will, either go find him, or he will come find me, or whatever. But also, I think seeing the bloodshot eyes, and I kind of Bo's vibe check on him, is that and kind of what you were saying is, this guy, I think, really, it sounds like he is really kind of trying his best with where he has ended up in life. And I think that really strikes a chord with Bo, in that, sometimes we are the victims of where life dumped us at, and you're just trying to make the best of what you have. It doesn't excuse anybody doing anything bad, but so far it seems like this guy hasn't actively tried to hurt anybody. He's trying his best, and Bo kind of has some empathy for that.
I would say, that I think you're right on the money here. Still, of course, part of the security force, but that is, it's a bit of a complicated scenario, at least in some respects. In any case, he nods and walks back to his post here. There in front of the building where, again, these active protests are still taking place. I would say later that day. It's not immediate, but kind of there towards the evening, you do get a ring on your agent there. And I would expect with your line of business, with your scrambler descrambler, it doesn't just say Captain Zenner there on the caller ID, but whatever sort of code or moniker that you have, you recognize this as Captain Zenner. And with that, do you pick up?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'll go into my my office or wherever I am at the garden, and make sure that I'm not being watched by anybody.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. That was my original intention. Was that rather than the call outright, you do get a text from that number that just says can you talk?
Yeah. Okay. And then I'll text back I'll go to my office, text back, and say yes. Yeah.
Cool. And you do so. You go back to your office, which you have taken pains to make sure never has any prying eyes or ears, and you get this call on the thing there. What is he going to sound like? He's going to sound like
there, De La Rue. I think got a birdie told me you needed to talk to me. What's shaking?
Hey there, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to have a quick chat. Especially as one of my favorite patrons of the Neon Garden, I just wanted to see if I could pick your brain about a little conundrum I'm having.
No.
See if you might be able to enlighten the situation a little bit.
Possibly. It's kind of funny. I feel like usually you're the one who's solving the conundrums, but yeah, what you got in mind?
Well, I am good at what I do, but I'm only as good as, the wonderful people I surround myself with. So I've heard about some recent news related to the Margot family, and some of my stakeholders were alarmed to find out that they have been found guilty so quickly. We were not even aware that a trial had been set
at least, I think maybe we need to clarify here. So during that flashback, this was before the conviction had taken place.
I was thinking this was later, after we were fast forwarding till now that the conviction has happened.
We can't, so we had rewound the clock a little bit, at least for back to like when Pixie was at the building, as far as, because I think that's where you said you wanted to grease a few palms. But in any case, let's do it like
Captain Weston was in the moment. Sorry, Captain Weston was in the moment greasing, and then I was chatting with Jessup for Captain Zenner to call me later.
Okay. Then So narratively, let's treat it like that, where rather than later that day, it's now after this scream sheet has come out. And so let's do that. So this conversation is taking place where this has come out.
Cool.
So say what you said again.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Okay. So it is some of my stakeholders are concerned about the recent news related to the guilty verdict of the Margot family, and how mostly to do with the fact that no one was aware that there was even a trial that had been set up, and the verdict seems to have been delivered, well, rather expeditiously. So we're just trying to figure out what's going on with that.
Yes, well, in these sort of tumultuous times here, it's understandable that trial setting may have escaped your notice or something, or things like that. But unfortunately, we don't really, with everything that's going on, this case is not something that we wanted to linger. So, admittedly, they did put the gas pedal down on this one a little bit, but but it is not, I would say, a difference of process, more just like a difference in timeline.
I would say make a human perception check here, Bo.
Human perception. I'm gonna. Actually, I won't put my luck into it yet.
Ooh, boy.
Oof! Yikes.
Okay. Then that is what he has said over the phone.
Okay. So it's just the part that I guess we're having trouble with is it seems just kind of a bit of a coincidence, perhaps a little more than a coincidence, that obviously due to these terrible political upheavals and acts of violence that have been happening, is that do they think the punishing the Margot family will quell some of the rebellion, or do you have any thoughts as to maybe why some of this might have happened? I'm just trying to get an idea in case some of this might affect my stakeholders who help keep the Neon Garden alive, functioning in times of turmoil when there's less patronage, so that all can still enjoy the Neon Garden, such as yourself. I want to make sure that all investors are happy, and one of the things that is making one of my investors unhappy is this news. I'm trying to help, calm those seas, if you get what I mean.
Got it. I'm going to say, since you may or may not have hit the nail on the head, I'm not going to make you do any more rolls for the following.
Well, insightful as always there, Bo. Look, it's possible that you might be a little bit right that with everything going on, people getting a little bit restless, violent, even that, and of course, once you know that, I'm not on the prosecution side, it's not my department, but at least based on what I heard, yeah, the higher-ups were talking they needed to make an example of somebody, and unfortunately, well, as much as people love those Margot magic shows, people know who they are, and I think that's unfortunately why they got picked off for this whole thing. They wanted to show that, well, if these people continue to step out of line, then they might be next. A bit of an ugly business, but kind of necessary. We can't keep things running. Everybody, throws bricks at us every time we open our doors.
Yes, that is rather unfortunate, especially given the price of bricks. They're, not cheap. But I kid. But what is the standard sentencing for smuggling, espionage, and sedition?
Well, that's kind of the thing here is that, well, normally, well, again, it's not my case, so probably shouldn't comment on it too much. And I mean, smuggling, I think you and I both know that one is on the money, but the other stuff, the espionage, the sedition, as far as sentencing goes, they've pushed for the maximum. They have a date set for execution next week.
The death penalty for smuggling, and
it's more for the sedition. The sedition part there.
A whole family. Wow, that's pretty harsh. Do you know where they're? You don't happen to know if they're being held in sort of the? I assume they're probably not being held in sort of the standard prison here in Echo City. Are they being held somewhere special?
At this point, I am going to need a persuasion roll, please.
All right. Persuasion is under there. All right, and I will pump all of my luck into this.
Whoa. Okay. Full luck. Let's get it.
I want to know where these people are.
Where the people?
Well, or do I want to wait and try to use it for how do we get in there? Okay. Try to figure. Okay, the other things I need to know, and I don't know if I'm going to get it out of him, but I need to know where are they being held, when is the date of execution set, if they have that yet. And although that's presumably public record, if there's some sort of, I don't know, does it work like law here, where if a family is arrested, presumably they alert the other members of the family of when said date would occur?
In a place like this, no.
Okay.
They do not inform the family, but at least in the scream sheets, it did not mention the sentence or the date. But at least according to Captain Zenner here, it is going to be next week. So there could be more information that is released in the meantime, especially if, as he says, this is meant to be made an example of.
Right. So I was like, they're probably going to make it pretty loud and obvious. Like it's going to be like a big to do when they do this. But yeah. Then I will pump all my luck points into figuring out where they're being held, because I would assume it's probably not. It's probably in some sort of high security situation.
Yeah. Yeah, and I will say that it may become public information later, but if you're able to glean this information now, having that extra time to plan and act on it would also be useful. But yeah, let's see what we got.
We're only going to do 1 point of luck, then, if it might be public information later. But we'll see. All right.
Yeah, I would say, where they're being held is not going to be public information, but the date of the execution is. Holy, okay.
Who needs luck?
Not Bo. If I'm not mistaken, that is the first super crit that we have seen of our rolls here, where not only is it a critical success with a 10 on the die, but also another 10 on top that added to it, up to a 35, which, for those of you keeping score at home, is several above and beyond the highest DV that the book even lists. So with a 35...
Perhaps for roleplay, I might encourage him to spill some information, because maybe I know that the a particular person that he enjoys spending time with at the Neon Garden. I can negotiate some extra time, and also I can confirm that I will not alert anyone in his family or workplace of exactly what he does at the Neon Garden.
Yeah. Okay. A little blackmail here on top, but yeah. Okay.
Just a teeny little bit of blackmail.
Yeah. That's kind of been your understanding so far. Is he realizes that you've got some information about him, but he's also got the authority to, if you were to try and blackmail him, he could do some things about that. But in either case, with this.
All right. Look, I appreciate the treatment that you give me, as always. I think one thing I'd ask for is a little birdie there told me that it may not be in mainstream yet. Apparently, your investor's got his hands on some pretty fancy new VR stuff. I wouldn't mind taking a little bit of a test drive there. First we'll call it the test group.
I'm sure that could be arranged.
All right. Well, you, as always, did not hear it from me, but it's possible.
Yeah, I would say the DV for him to tell you exactly where this was very high, but very well done.
I mean, you may or may not be aware. I know you've kind of floated in and out, perhaps, or at least around some of our facilities. We've got a pretty secure facility there, below station, to make sure that we keep people who more high-profile people, more dangerous people, locked up as they need to be. Now, I mean, it's down there with our other holding cells designed for the people who go a little bit off the deep end with all the cyber stuff. And I mean, I get it. It happens there, but as far as when that might take place, well, I'll warn you just to make sure you don't get caught in the crossfire.
And you practically hear a wink on the other side of the phone.
It's set for next...
I'm just going to use the regular days of the week because that's easier.
It's set for next Friday. Sort of in early evening there, as people are sort of off work, trying to make a big thing of it, you know. Again, like I said, making an example.
And I guess DM question is, I mean, I don't know. I would assume in cyberpunk world it would be like either some sort of psycho, like not psycho, cyber style, like I don't know, just lethal injection or whatever. But I assume if they want to make an example, would like is hanging the thing in this world, or like what would a public execution like? What would I assume we've probably seen one at some point before?
It's actually been pretty. It is like very, very rare. You I think would have potentially heard. You may have been like among you. Well, you tell me. As far as so Echo Center has a like somewhat recent history. Like it has been not quite a century since it's been established as this settlement here. How? Well, no, I guess I'm keeping in your ages and everything. Cool. You have heard stories of some of like the earlier days of establishing Echo Center, where there were various people and factions vying for the dominant power here. The Galakites, with their numbers, but mostly their superior technology, were able to like swoop in and claim this place. But you have you heard old stories of like public like firing squad executions. They don't really do that anymore because they haven't had to, and though like yeah, there have been like disagreements, but they have not had to like do public executions in any, at least in your memories, because they've kind of had their boot firmly down on this populace. Now it seems like they are going back to the old ways, at least here, to show that they are, well, to try and prove that they are still in control.
Gotcha. Okay. And so, just so I'm clear, so they said they're being held in a secure, like high security spot below the station.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where they would normally hold like folks that have entered like into cyber psychosis.
Yes. So the headquarters that you were visiting before, it would apparently be some sort of holding cells below that area. It seemed he did sort of offhandedly mention that they've got some of the more like beefier holding cells down there for people who like if they're able to catch them with cyber psychosis. That is also like pretty rare. Usually that ends up just like in a shootout. Maybe this is just a precautionary thing. You also don't know if it is at least up to that level in this area, this bunker of sorts. But you don't know if the Margot family specifically's security is that overwrought. Also, thank you, Lyman, for the bits. Interesting that the DM is talking executions and wearing an orange shirt, or orange jumpsuit. That had not crossed my mind, but a fair point.
Cool. All right. I don't want to take up too much more time, but I guess I'll wrap up the conversation with Captain Zenner. And just say, so thank you for sharing that information with me. Is there any other way that the secure, or that, what are they called? The Galakites, that's who's in power right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other way that the Galakites might be able to show their might and power without having to take out a whole family? Is there any other way that they might? Is there any way basically that we can get the Margot family at least a lighter sentence?
Well, out, Bo, but in this case, this one is a little bit above my pay grade. It's out of my hands. Like, I could try to talk to somebody, but at least right now they are kind of on. They're not really in the best of spirits up there, so I'm sorry, but I'm also looking a little bit out for myself, trying to keep my head down. Now, if you've got some other in, I know you know a lot of people there. Well,
Wow, the accent is going all over the place. This is canon. This is a canon accent. Don't worry about it.
but I know you know people. Bo, if you've got an in with these Galakites for somewhere, maybe you can work your magic. But sadly, this honestly, what I've told you is probably more than I should anyway. So
Perhaps one last request then, if this is possible. If we can't get them off, could I possibly arrange a final visit for my stakeholder investors to say farewell to their favorite performing artists?
Well, I think that obviously the paperwork will take a little bit of doing, but given the right incentive, I think I might see what I can do about that.
So in this case, he is implying here. It's so funny. We have not done bribery once this entire campaign, and now we're about to have 3 in a row. Seems like he wants at least a little bit of extra incentive here to secure a visit. He seems at least willing to try.
All right, I will. I don't know if I'll say I don't know if that is necessarily something that my investors will want, but at least if I can offer them that option to help perhaps make them a little happier, perhaps I can send you. I will, if they decide to take me up on that offer, I will send you a mess. I will let you know. Now that I have your contact information, I will send you a discreet message letting you know, along with some additional incentive by way of perhaps 1,000 EBs. Does that sound all right?
I will say, if you're willing to sacrifice 1,000 EBs, I'm not even gonna ask for a bribery roll. That's a lot. So
I'm not saying we're gonna do it. I'm just saying the option is there that I could text you and let you know. I will let you know if my investors would like to take up this opportunity.
I see. Okay. I will say as like that option there, 1,000 EBs. Then I'm not going to ask.
I could do 500 up front, perhaps, if that would help.
Okay. What I will say is, like, for now, if you end up, potentially, like, whether it's split amongst people or not, if you at least net send a 1,000 EBs to this guy, no check needed. If you discuss and decide that you're going to try at least to come down a little bit, then I might ask for a bribery roll. But for now, I think we'll hold off on any potential rolls for now. I'll say keep your EBs until you discuss with your party members. But you bring up that as an option.
Well, that certainly does sound like a pretty sweet tune to me. Well, I suppose talk to your shareholder, and get back to me.
That sounds good. Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure talking to you as always.
Of course. I'll see you around.
And hangs up.
Great.
And after you hang up, you hear like a little
Do I hear
you hear a blip?
computer?
You hear a blip from your phone, and you get a ugh, what a knob. Why do you even talk to that guy?
Oh no.
You sound a bit different there, Billy. How you doing?
Different? That's a little bit shady, but fine. Well, I was trying to be a good friend, and I was trying to be a good friend and dig a little into, like the Scream Shoot stuff to see if there was like anything else. Got a little bit. There was like a thing when I tried to connect, a couple of glitches happen. I guess they've got security or whatever. Not it's like even good security because, I mean, I'm still here, but yeah, everything's fine. Why do you ask?
No, just hey, look, I love that you are finding yourself and you are experimenting and just being a free spirit, and I love that. And you know what? I feel like this glow stick that I have taped to you has really just helped you, just like open up a new part of you, and I love that for you. I love this journey for you.
Oh my god! Can I say? I was going to like mention this glow stick, and it's just been a lot of fun. Even if it was like supposed to be like a grieving glow stick, I mean, it's still a pretty cool vibe. At least, well, a chiller vibe than being like shoved down that guy's throat. I mean, I know he was like a dick, but like, whoa, that's a lot.
Sorry about that. That was sort of a moment of overzealous artistry that took place by my hand, mostly because I really don't like when people try to hurt my friends. But I still had to put my own sort of artistic twist on it, and you were a victim of that. So I do apologize, and I will be getting you a new glow stick, and I will fix it with something other than duct tape, so you can be the fabulous personality that you are.
Ugh, that sounds awesome. So, I mean, I've been feeling this way for a while, in that, look, I think we both know that you're the cool one of this whole
oh my God,
friend
stop it.
or whatever. You're the cool one. Like, the other ones are fine, I guess, but like, I don't know. You're the cool one.
Oh my God, you're cool.
We should like hang out more, okay?
Oh my God, yes, absolutely. Cool. Well, thank you so much for helping me with all this security stuff and just everything. You are like just so on the ball. Love this. Love everything about you. All right, we should probably go back and talk to everybody else because we got some spicy information.
Ooh, yes, let's spill that tea. So yes, it would appear as though partner computer is now. Yep, we'll call it. Oh, that's right.
TikTok influencer computer.
TikTok influencer computer, definitely that vibe there. But we'll call. I was a bit iffy on this joke, but I was a bit iffy on the joke, but yeah, Silicon Valley computer.
Yes.
little Valley girl in there. It's fine. Okay, so yes, with this information, you can reconvene with the group here. And okay, Opera, that's very good. That is. I'm going to steal that. So yes, Valley girl spelled with the URL capitalized. I'm going to accept that as canon. Cool. So you reconvene. Where do you reconvene? Do you reconvene at the Neon Garden, in the garage, Opera's beach hut, Patch's pad?
I'd probably just text everybody and be like, "Hey, can you come to the Neon Garden where I know we have a secure room?"
Sure.
I also think that when Pixie learned of the family situation, like, she didn't know what to do at first, but then she immediately called Bo to figure out some sort of plan. I think that would have been her first step anyway.
Yeah, totally. And I think Bo would also Bo would, I think, message you first and have you come over first to like tell you. I think he'd want to tell you everything one-on-one to give you a chance to kind of check in and chat and like emotionally check in also. Because he's not going to throw a bunch of just like, he would want to make sure you personally, or like your character personally is like, okay, or like is okay getting this information right now, or if you need some time to process before he's going to be like, okay, here's this and this and this and this and this, you know, if that makes sense. So yeah, so I don't know, I feel like I'm talking a lot, so we don't have to RP that if you don't want to.
Better y'all talking than me. Go for it.
I think Pixie just would have taken all that in and then been like, okay, we need to come up with a plan. Let's bring in everybody else.
Cool. All right. And then I'll text the other two and say, got some very interesting information about everything going on.
Okay.
Meet me in my office.
Very good. All right. Presuming there are no disputes, you all reconvene at the Neon Garden here and try and figure out what your next steps are. Let me throw on some music here. I know I've got... Oh, I know where it is. Sorry, I'm going to have some Neon Garden music here. It'll take me 2 seconds. Over to... Why?
While you're looking for that, I'll say when Bo sees opera, I think he just I should say I loved your out of character. I loved your shark spiel. Like what is the primary predator, all that stuff. I was dying. And the therapy was just so good. But I would like to think that Bo has heard the shark spiel at some point about...
Every time he gets drunk, he's like, listen, what is the only creature that hasn't changed in 100 million years? You know what it is? Like, yes, opera.
Well, I'll tell you.
And when, because I think Bo's also noticed that maybe opera's been kind of lacking on the empathy side of things, but just as a joke, he got... I want to say he picked up like a shark-shaped like squishmallow type pillow thing. Aww. And was just like, hey, Opera, you've been seeming kind of stressed recently. Although I will say you do look a lot better. You seem a little more relaxed now. So whatever you've been doing, keep it up. But I did get you a little present. I hope this, you know, if you feel stressed, you can kind of just go to it. You know, there's not technology or anything in it. Although it does make a fun little, like, if you squeeze its fin, it makes sort of a little, like, a theme song for something. Kids' cartoon, I don't know. I just thought it was cute. Anyway, here you go.
Why, Bo, that is very kind of you. I have the grip strength of a front-loading power vehicle, so it is probably not the most useful thing for me to squeeze, but I will remember that very kindly.
Yeah, you're kind of like a big ol' hunting dog when you give it like a little squishy squeaky toy. It's only gonna last for like 30 minutes, but you know what? That's fine.
I will keep it on my keychain as soon as I have any keys.
Oh, which does come to mind. I think that's one of the reasons why it is taking you a little while to work on your pager there, Opera, is that it has to stand up to your strength, your grip strength, which takes some time to work out.
So strong.
In my mind, also, like, in the background, whenever Opera's, like, doing his thing, he's also, like, developing a will he, won't he with the other Bohemian, who he is now helping, like, improve the choreography in his terrible opera.
And the ballet, yes.
Yes, he's improving his ballet.
That was so good.
They're developing a little rapport. It's like, somehow you have created something that is both derivative and unapproachable.
Beautiful. Side note, we've got a redemption here from Spider JJ. Each of you take 10 IP. Each PC gets XP. And yeah, to your question here, would keychain be a chain with keyboard on it? Some people do. Okay. So you have convened various future keychains have been shared here. All right. What do you do? Obviously, there is a very big problem for the Margot family right now, amongst other issues in the city. So.
Yeah. So I should just like pour everyone a drink and just say, "All right, y'all. So here's the deal." And blah 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 blah. Narrative regurgitate.
Yes.
So my thought, my immediate thought is, we got to get the Margot family out of there. I have arranged a potential option for us to pose as, well, for y'all to maybe pose as investors and stakeholders who happen to be big fans of the Margot family back when they used to perform here, and you would want to meet them one last time. Perhaps while we were in there, find some way to get them out. However, that could potentially ruin my whole reputation, and we'd have to figure out some way for me to be able to get y'all in there without me destroying everything I've worked for. So there's that, but that is an option. The other option would be to intercept them while they're being transferred from the underground holding cell to the place of execution. And that leaves us very little time. Anyway, that's where my brain's at, is trying to figure out how to get the Margot family out without A, ruining my reputation, B, getting y'all hurt and or injured or killed or whatever. Just trying to have, have my cake and eat it too, so to speak. Thoughts?
Third option, we could also maybe fake the execution.
Ooh.
Make it seem like it went off like they intended, but they never make it that far.
Interesting. I like that.
I mean, we are magicians after all.
That is very true. Oh, I really like that.
I do actually.
I mean, y'all, I know your family's incredibly talented, but I'm feeling like their resource, I'm pretty sure they were stripped of most of their resources probably when they were taken into the holding cells. So, like, any thoughts on how we might achieve that?
I mean, I think it would come down to us. We would have to perform the disappearing act, I suppose.
I wonder if we could maybe reach out to some other performers here at the Neon Garden and see if maybe they could help us too. In order for a trick like that to be pulled off, we'd still have to probably get that visit in with your family to maybe try to slip them some stuff to use, because we would need to swap them out, especially if they're going to do a firing squad. We'd have to have some way to swap out bodies.
Right.
I don't know. This is something we may have to think on as lead. This may be something we have to think on offline, because that's a lot of planning.
Yeah.
And a lot of potential problems. But I absolutely fucking love that idea so much.
I hate to be that guy, but have you ever seen Tosca?
To what?
It's an opera in which they attempt to fake a firing squad, and they just end up getting her lover killed.
Right.
Spoilers for Tosca.
I'm more of a Die Feldermaus kind of person. There's definitely going to be some problems, and I don't know. Maybe we'll start to plan and realize there's no way to pull that off. But I'm lacking the idea. But Lee, as a player, is like, doesn't want to sit. I mean, unless this is what we want to do, I don't know that sitting here and planning out that incredibly elaborate process would be the best way to spend our time. But
probably not.
I'm also inclined to try and intercept them, because as we've discovered, our opponents are at their weakest when they have their vehicles with them.
Only if there are trees around.
It's true.
Then we will have to make trees. Who's with me, gang?
I love your enthusiasm.
I
I'm
have
not.
just rediscovered this thing called love, something like that.
I thought you were going to say irony, but sure.
I'm so proud of you,
Well,
Opera. Oh goodness, but my gifts do not lie in the arbitorial arts. So we'll put that
Maybe
on plan B, maybe.
Yeah, maybe we try to get them during transport, and then if that fails, then our plan B could be the fake out, maybe. Right?
What? Yeah, I mean, because my thinking is the biggest problem we're going to have. Let's say we have a plan to pull off a body switch of some sort. We can and make it look as if they were executed. The problem is even if we swap out bodies, because they're going to want to obviously find bodies, if we swap them out with people that have already, are pre-deceased, they're still going to realize with looking at them and or DNA or whatever that that's not the people that they thought they shot. So basically my thinking is we need some way to cause perhaps the whole place to fill with smoke and or ignite or have that specific area that they're going to be shot blow up, so that it would make sense that there would only be bits and pieces of bodies maybe found or no bodies at all, but there's no way that it...
There is not a single machine under God's creations that I cannot make blow up.
I know it, and that's one of the many reasons I love you, Opera. You are a shark among men. But that will take some planning. But yeah, so some sort of distraction, explosion type thing that does not actually hurt the Margot family, but would give us a visual cover to get them out of there. We scatter some tattered clothing and bits and pieces of blood and whatever to make it look like they went kaboom. Perhaps we could even, if we want to, we could make it look like an attack from somebody else. We want to frame it on somebody. It's just saying it could get real complicated, but I think we need a way to make it look like that Margot family is dead and there is a reason that there are no bodies left. That's
yes.
But I think that's doable. It's just gonna be a doozy.
Yeah, so this is more of a nested plot. At this point we have kidnapping, rescue, corpse disposal, and now what was the last one? Impersonation?
Well, it's more of a so it'd be in the order it'd be, it's more of just a white lie, because you are technically stakeholders in the Neon Garden and that you have given me money for stuff you've gotten here. So that's not really a lie. That's just more of a hyperbolic interpretation of your investment in this establishment. But I would perhaps disguise y'all as not yourselves, so that you guys look like a little more hoity-toity.
Opera just stands up to his height of 7'3" and is like, what part of me needs to be toitier or hoitier?
This is true. But, we just want to make sure that I want to make sure that none of my friends are convicted of anything. I just don't want y'all to get in trouble, so it's probably best if we just sort of disguise all y'all, just so at least you're harder to tell who's who. But
they also kind of know my face.
Yeah, that's the other part. We really have to probably do some. We'll go talk to some of the performers. The things they can do with makeup are incredible. Yeah, so they would get you into. We may not even necessarily. We just need to communicate with your family. So at the very least, we would need to get one of y'all in there to say your goodbyes and hand them a note that said, hey, we're planning this thing, here's the deal. And then for us, we would have to get to the space where the execution is going to happen, set up these things to create this illusion, and then at the right time have everything go off to create this illusion and get them out and away very quickly. So I don't know that we're gonna, I think we may end up having to create some sort of fake attack on this station or whatever. And
well, then
as
let's
a result,
blame the game said.
Mm-hmm.
that's, yeah, I mean, we may not even necessarily have to, actually, if we blame it on the games said, then we wouldn't even necessarily have to fake that the Margot family has died. We could just have these explosions and then make it like the game said, have captured the Margot family and is holding them ransom. But maybe it would be better, I don't know. I have to think on it. It might be better if we make them look like they're dead. But if we can still blame it on the game said, that could be interesting. Potentially would cause more political upheaval, but it'd be an excuse for this explosion to happen and not have fingers pointed at, well, us.
And all we have to do
Well,
is
they've already-
write a letter complaining about how they have used electric toasters or something, whatever their issue is.
They've already targeted nomads, so maybe they're finishing the job with the Margos. I don't know.
Now I'm worried though. I was kind of hoping we could perhaps deal with the gainsaid issue without violence, but I don't know. They've already used violence, so, but violence begets violence. It's a whole cycle, you know. But anyway. I'm more concerned with my friends and their family being like, and just the fact that the law is being abused to make an example of people that didn't do jack shit in the first place. The other option would just be to try to dismantle the whole security system and, well, probably murder a bunch of security folks, which doesn't seem great. So, as cathartic as some of it might be, but there's some good people in there, and I don't necessarily want them to get hurt either. So
We just need to figure out which option is going to be less shitty.
basically, yeah, it's all of it's kind of shitty. And also, what are we going to do with the Margot family if all this works out? Because getting them out of the city could be difficult.
Pixie, this is something that you would likely know. There's a whole lot leading up to this but if you are able to get the Margot family out of the city, or at least like get them a vehicle, which you have, well, you've got Bug in the garage right now. The other ones were destroyed in the attack. You have not had time to like get more vehicles in. But if you get them a vehicle outside of the city, there are plenty of hidey holes and places for them to hide around the island. The like nomad places.
And we have like contacts outside of the city, right? Like we're not just based here. So theoretically, like once we get them out, like they'll have resources and help.
Yeah, you could. Yes, there are other nomad families out there for sure.
Okay, so that's good. What day? Like, so the execution is set to happen. You said next Friday, but what day are we on currently?
I'll say that this is Wednesday of the prior week, so you've got 9 days in order. 9 days before this spectacle.
9. All right. All right, 9 days. Sorry, trying to find my notes of calendar day. Okay. All right. So, anybody else have any other perhaps information that could be useful and/or anything? Any other thoughts before we kind of wrap up this? Because I think what Bo would want to do is maybe go talk to some people at the Neon Garden that he knows and pull in some contacts that he knows that are the type of people that are prone to do it, or not prone, but have some expertise in these skills. And also, like, probably, I'm sure you guys have people you'd want to maybe talk to. Just basically corral all of our resources, figure out what we have and how we could potentially even begin to tackle this plan if that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
That's where my brain's at. Any other thoughts?
I mean, Pixie would reach out to all of her contacts and try to get a plan for getting her family out of the city.
Okay.
Vehicles, smuggling routes, whole thing.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go ahead and ask you then. Like, these are other nomads. They are. How much of the situation do you explain?
I think it'd be like pretty need to know.
Okay.
Just we have people we need to get out.
Okay. Yeah, they are in the nomads are in the business of smuggling, and as far as getting people out, that is. I'm going to make it a point here in the canon of this universe, in any case, because I'm going to smuggling things. That's whatever. Can smuggle people, but it's definitely on like the nomads are going to be on the positive side of smuggling people. They are not slavers. So I'm just going to make that canon right now. But yeah, getting somebody out of a situation, that's been done before. So I will say you do get responses from one of the other nomad families. We'll say that this is the let's see some more goes. So this is the I like this. The Vemery family. Vemery. That is the family, the nomad family that you get in touch with for this operation here. And I'll leave it up to you to. I mean, there is some limit as to the amount of help they can provide, but as to the nature of it, like, do you want a vehicle dropped off at the garage in this meantime? Do you want them like ready and waiting to like, get in the car, let's go, or what does this look like? What does their help look like to you?
I think it would be them taking the Margos themselves instead of just leaving a car. I feel like that would be more risky if they just had a car,
Okay. All right, so yeah, a pickup. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Yeah, I think it'll be like one of those, as you say, need to know basis. So this is going to be one of those. They will help you with this. You'll owe them a favor. They don't put like a number, like a money on it or anything, but like, yeah, you help the other child out. So now you will owe the Vemery family a favor that they may call in at some point. But that is doable to have a getaway vehicle ready to go. Okay. That is definitely a doable amount of heat. So yeah, they agree to this without a roll needed. Okay. I would say it also. Do you, in this need to know information, do you tell them that it's the Margot family that needs to be extracted?
No, I will just say that there are like high profile people
Okay.
in our nomad circles.
Got it.
I don't know if the Margos are, but
They're known. I would say the Magic Act, I think, is a unique cover that other families do not have. And beyond that, I would say that Minna is a beloved figure amongst the nomads. You did get some, no one went in on a big like rescue mission, but like you did catch some concern and condolences from some of the other families when they heard that the Margos, specifically Minna, was incarcerated. I would say that you probably heard this from. I think they would probably not contact you directly, but at least through Maverick, you heard of a little bit of whispering about Minna behind the scenes. Cool. So you've got a getaway set up. Again, a lot leading up to that but if you can get them outside the city, then they've got the getaway vehicle ready to go. Everything leading up to that, obviously, still a little bit in flux.
I have some. I'm piecing some stuff together. I have some thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, again, it's sort of, this is very preliminary, but if we are there at the execution, I'm assuming, because they are going to want to make a big to-do about this, that they will have some sort of space in which the family, probably not like a stage, I don't know, but something. I'm going to say stage for lack of a better term.
Okay.
They'll be up on that with the firing squad, and then everyone watching would be around it, something like that. But if we can get there the night before and plant in the ground a series of explosive material, fireworks, something, basically to create a line of explosion in a C shape with the family in the middle of the sea. That would create basically a fire shield around the family. So we'd have to plan everything the night before. On the day of, we'd have to probably, well, in my head, I was thinking we could talk with some of the tech folk, some technonauts, some of maybe Opera's crew, see if we can cause a blackout on the block with all video screens, all security cameras, all power sources that would be to potential news reporters that are recording any of this. Cut all power to the block and cause a blackout, and then the explosion happens, and that's when we get, and in that explosion we're shooting off just everything, make it big, make it wild, fireworks, whatever, just something to make a lot of noise and a lot of smoke and distraction. We get the family into a car, and the car gets out while the noise and everything's happening. And then as soon as the explosions die down, light up the video screens with something that makes it, if the game said have some sort of, Viva la Revolution slogan, have that appear on the screens, the video screens. I presume it's kind of a Times Square-ish vibe in most places in Cyberpunk world.
Yeah, it's obviously on the jankier side, but yes, neon and screens everywhere.
So if we can create some, although I don't know if that would be a thing that the game said would do since they don't like technology, maybe it's just throwing dropping paper flyers from a roof or whatever that say Viva la Revolution or whatever the hell they say. Something that gives it a very clear thing that this is a message from the game said that they don't like what's happening. And then that way, the hard part would be planting everything the day before and ensuring that it ignites. But I think we have enough friends that we could get those, I'm going to say flyers for now, made and airdropped. We have the technology, I think, to create all of those explosions and fireworks and distractions. Your family is really good at moving quickly and getting in and out of small spaces and creating the illusion of disappearing quite quickly and being stealthy about it, presumably. We also have a medical expert here who can make it look like perhaps the family got exploded.
The technical term, exploded.
Yes, I believe that is the technical medical term.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, so does that sound just absolutely bonkers, or does that sound like a plan?
At this point,
Yes to both.
At this point, it almost feels like it would be simpler to just convince people they had a very boutique religious belief and they were raptured. I say we go for it and just improvise.
I love it.
That's the spirit. Excellent. So, few things here in play. As far as where. I think this would make most sense for Bo and Pixie if you two would please roll a concentration check for me. A little bit of sort of information recall. Yeah. As you talk and think through your plan, if you are like wanting to make this sort of distraction this big to do at the execution site, obviously you need to figure out what that site is, where it might be. So I see a concentration from Pixie, and ooh, baby, another phenomenal roll from Bo is back. No one can argue that. With a 26. When you think about place, you know Echo Center well, very well, probably better than anyone else here. When you think about places that they could stage this, it is, not the same square, so there's a little bit of distance, but what comes to mind to you is like the main square that exists in Echo Center, which is also the same exact place where the Margot family was arrested, which has its own twist of irony there, that they performed there, they were arrested there, and are allegedly going to be executed there. So you don't know 100% if that is going to be the case, but that is your best guess as to where this execution is going to take place. And yeah, you can definitely do some recruiting amongst Opera might be a benefit there, but recruiting from the Technohemian community, if you want to rig up some tech things, Patch, I feel like you could. It's not exactly what you're used to doing, but with your medical knowledge, you could come up with some dummy bodies as such. And not dummy bodies. We want to make it look like they were exploded. Excuse me.
Or exploded and/or incinerated.
Yes, that there is
the ignition.
Traces of them left behind, missing, presumed dead. Got it. Okay.
I'm sure that the Technohemians have some cast-off feet and hands they'd be willing to lend over.
Well, you see, there's some like the issue of DNA, so we'd have to. I was thinking perhaps on our visit, we do a little sort of like take some blood or do some DNA transfer onto some pieces of clothing or something.
Get out of my head.
Genuinely clever. Okay.
It's painful when he calls out the one time it's true.
Most of the time we're a bunch of bumblefucks, but Well, yeah. So great minds. We're on the same page here. Cool. Well, yeah. I mean, we just need a little bit, enough for them to see that, like, enough for them to believe that they were
Exploded?
just absolutely, like, but yeah, just either like, well, exploded would still leave pieces, probably. So we'd probably have to kind of convince them of incineration, which, in my head, if we can get enough fuel, you know how in some of our shows at the Neon Garden we have those fire cannons that shoot from the floor and make it kind of like especially during our kind of rock concert series, it's like the guys come out and they're like, "Bleh," and then there's like 2 fire cannons that kind of shoot out fire bits in the floor, kind of thing.
Yeah,
we can jerry rig a couple of those to create a whole line of fire and just make it look like huge incinerator from the floor, when in reality it's just a line of fire versus a whole block of fire, if that makes sense.
But doesn't this place have cameras?
We would take those out with the blackout. Sorry, go ahead.
I can get you fuel. That's no problem.
Oh yeah,
For fire.
Yeah.
Love that. Great. So we'd have the fuel. We have. I could reach out to my stage hands, my tech crew here at the garden, to just ask if they can build me a bunch of fire cannons real fast.
Yeah. I would say that between basically the stage crew that you have here at the Neon Garden, since it is an experience, I would say you also know there's, like, at least a couple of notable rocker boys here in Echo Center that you would certainly know, Bo, that the pyrotechnics that you just mentioned, like performance pyrotechnics, yeah.
That was the word I was looking for, pyrotechnics.
Yeah, they do their shows and have stuff like that, so you could speak with them, speak with one of them or their crew to see if you can talk to the experts, as it were.
Hell yeah.
Okay. So you got that.
Cool. And then so we've got Patch on the figuring out how to get the DNA and convince of explosion, incineration, deadness. I'm real good with words. And so we got Pixie on fuel, and you've already chatted with your friends about how to get them out of there. And then Opera, if you can perhaps recruit some people to help us figure out how to cause a blackout and on the block at the right time. Is that something, do you think, the Technohemians could maybe help with or would be able to do?
Opera cracks his knuckles far more times than seems appropriate, and then says, leave it to me, nothing easier.
Awesome. All right. Well, then I will go talk to some rocker boys. And also, I think it would probably be good for us to try to fill the crowd with people that we know to help when the explosion happens, to help make sure that we don't hurt anybody in the crowd who's not part of our crew, but also B, to kind of help ensure that there is lots of upheaval, lots of panicking, lots of people screaming and making lots of noise, so that we need a large crowd of people to ensure that any security is more concerned with keeping the crowd from freaking out than they are with whatever is going on in the fire zone.
So you're asking for a large group of people who can move chaotically and in a way that causes panic and discomfort. I know precisely the ballet troupe.
I was hoping you'd say that.
You also hear a blip from your agent here when you talk about, like, the rocker boys and their pyrotechnics and whatnot. Oh my god. Just saying, if you, like, are gonna talk to Omen or whatever, like, that would be cool. They're cool. It's whatever. It'd be fine. I like them a normal amount. Okay, why you look at me like that?
Oh my god, you have no chill, Billy, and I love it.
Is our friend okay?
And you can confirm this, Bo, that one of the more prominent rocker boys is named. Their stage name is Omen.
Oh, that's so badass. I love that. Oh, Billy, I will make sure that we go talk to Omen, and I'll make sure that you are front and center.
Whatever. I mean, that's cool, I guess. Thanks.
Only because you are so good at talking and just... I've been talking so much recently, I feel like this is going to be all you, and I know you're super chill about, negotiating things, so I'm sure it'll be great.
Finally, somebody notices God.
Cool. Well, all right. I'm so excited for this crazy explosion murder ballet. It's going to be great.
Okay, so we have some things resembling a plan. Actually, last thing I want to address before we'll take a short break and then see if what we can do about putting this plan in motion is securing this visit to the Margot family. Now that everybody is here, so you said you offered a potential hefty bribe to Captain Zenner, but it is up to you to decide whether you want to, how you want to split that amount, if at all, and if you want to try and offer a lesser amount than that.
I mean, Bo honestly doesn't spend, he's got his one gun that he uses. He's not really somebody that's going to spend a lot on weaponry. If anything, he has people that fight for him. Yeah, but occasionally he will obviously fight if he has to. So he's not really spending it on that. And as far as techno enhancements, Bo doesn't want to. He's got a few, but mostly he likes the way he is. So he can't ruin a work of art. And so anyway, he's going to spend his money on the thing that he is best at, which is information and access. So I will then, with Pixie's consent, say are we cool with, because I don't want to split the party, all four of us, you three in disguise, somewhat disguise, going to basically see your family, to do, especially if we're fans of them, to kind of get DNA from them, and B, to somehow convey the message that we're going to get them out. If we want to convey them, perhaps it would sell it better if they don't know, but it also could potentially traumatize them. But so we may just I don't know. We may want to let them know, but they're performers. They're good actors. They'll be fine if we let them know. We just got to figure out how to do that discreetly.
I mean, in the long run, trauma is still a little bit better than death, so...
I was going to say, I don't think the firing squad is going to give them a trigger warning.
Right, well, I'm thinking more of if they go into this thinking that they're gonna die versus them going into it thinking that, knowing, hopefully, that we will rescue them is,
I don't know, that feels like it would make for a very optimistic-looking lineup of you who are about to die.
Well, that's what I was saying. They're performers, so hopefully they're good at acting. Granted, it's acting under a lot of pressure, but... I mean, they may just be stony-faced, kind of resigned to what's going to happen.
They've pulled off escape... what is that called? Escape... plans. Performances. What is the word I'm looking for?
Escape artistry?
Yeah.
The prestige.
They pulled off the
But we also... We would need to basically, do you think that they can carry this off and look like, can they be, can they walk out there in front of this firing squad and look as if convincingly like they are very aware that their life is going to end, like, even though they know that we are going to get them out of it?
Yeah.
Does that?
Of course.
Okay. Because I'd rather them know, so that also in the off chance that any of them was planning any sort of grand, I don't know, whatever, when they go up on that execution platform or whatever, I want to kind of make sure that they don't have anything planned for that. Because I know I myself, being a somewhat theatrical type, if I was going to get executed, I would certainly want to go out with a bang. So I would have planned some sort of something. But if someone was trying to rescue me, that would complicate it. So we don't want them to do that.
I think if they want to make a soliloquy, it will just make it all the more realistic, and we go ahead with our plan.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I mean that's fair. I was thinking more of just I just don't want them to do anything that would complicate our plan. So I think
somehow I imagine there is a greater force than all of us who is in charge and responsible for the actions they will take and will not intentionally cause our plan to fail.
I mean, sometimes the gods of these worlds are chaotic, you know, and theatrical. So,
yeah. Hypothetically, Pixie, you would know that with her acting background, obviously can't say 100% for certain, but you feel like if you're able to like visit them and slip them this information, that they will, certainly be on board, but it shouldn't take too much acting to pretend that they were about to die, because there is, like, plan or no, I think you would all realize that there is still that very real possibility.
Yeah, I mean there is always the possibility that we fail, so just that is something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
But question outside the game: how many? Well, I guess I could ask you in the game too. How many people are in this family?
400.
Oh God.
1 million.
The whole city.
Yes, I feel like we've discussed this before, Pixie. I'm not sure if I did actually write down a specific hard number for the size of your fam. Well, I mean adopted family, but family.
I don't know that we talked about it.
Okay. In that case, there are, we'll say, let's see, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? I'd say like 7. Like seven people here. Obviously, there is Minna, but then also the sort of extended family that you have. You would be the 8th. And Maverick is, Maverick is also family, but he's fine. He has a little bit more, though he has the strongest ties to the Margot family. He is not directly a part of it, which is also why he was not arrested.
He's like an uncle twice removed or whatever.
Yeah.
An associate.
Yeah.
Yes, associate. The nomad familiar hierarchies are not exactly strict to the book. So they are. He happened to be like one nomad who apparently took a little bit more of a shining than others to having a somewhat less mobile lifestyle. Like, still will run and help the other people with the jobs, but like kind of he's the point man for nomad contact in Echo Center, which is again the biggest settlement, biggest civilized settlement on the island, and so that's an important position.
Okay, so we got to get 7 people out of here. Do you think in whatever whatever vehicle they go into, we also probably should try to disguise it as some sort of Galakite security van or something.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that question. Like, should it be some sort of like police vehicle so it theoretically gets past any other security personnel, rather than being like chased out of the city?
It could also be, because we don't want it. I mean, it would be nice if it could be there. Like, it needs to be there pretty close by. So perhaps we disguise it as a medical van, as in like, but medical as in it's the vans that would take the bodies to the coroners afterwards. Like, that's why that medical van is there, and why it has so much room in it.
Yeah.
So, you know, if we could make it look like that, and it would also make sense as to, like, you know, if we need to get the vehicle out of there fast. Well, once we get it, if there's an explosion and there is a medical van going away from the explosion and not toward the hospital, I'm potentially overthinking this, but
We could just get a car that has a banner that can change, because it's like a light on the side of it, and it's a medical vehicle going towards it, and it's a hearse going away. It's the future.
I mean, that's true. I suppose we can have it be a medical van at one point and then an ice cream van after that.
Yeah.
I think with enough time, effort, and maybe a little bit of cash, I think if Pixie and Opera put their heads together, you could come up with a more chameleon-esque vehicle. Something.
Our plan already involves like 60 people helping us. I'm pretty sure we can figure out how to change the paint on the car.
I
It's
mean,
literally
I
the
don't know.
entire city.
Yeah.
I'm having a blast planning a heist, so I'm trying to keep Lee as a person from completely overcomplicating this whole thing. So I'm just like, there's 400 things we could do, and I could plan out, but that would get like way too Ocean's 11. But
That is here's what I'll say about like the heist. I think major things should be worked out ahead of time, like we are already doing. I also will say, part of me is tempted, since we have done some system jumping before, part of me is tempted, like, this would be a perfect time to slip on over into, like, Blades in the Dark, since it's all heist, but I don't know that system well enough to do so, and also it's like, that feels like, rather than the conceit that we had for Dungeon World, it feels a little bit more like we're cheating on Cyberpunk RED, so we'll stay in it for the heist. Something
I'm also
that you
planning with the thought of the numbers and the skills that we have as our current characters.
Yes, which is smart, and that works. So I would say, yeah, major issues should at least be like addressed, if not completely answered. But I will say, yeah, there is, well, probably going to be some improvisation anyway. But I will not make you all like make sure that every single detail is worked out 100% ahead of time. I will, yeah. We will play with that a little bit, just so we don't spend 4 episodes making recreating Ocean's 11. Something that we know regarding these vehicles. The security force does have vehicles. As far as ground vehicles go, they don't have as many ground vehicles. There are like a couple of like really, really heavily armored, basically like SWAT-esque vans. But for the most part, any vehicle used by the security force are airborne vehicles. They have the technology and the money. They are well overfunded, so they tend to have flying vehicles. These like airships is a tad dramatic. They're not Final Fantasy style like city. Well, Acronia, yes, is a floating city. Trickling down from that is, yes, some like more, think like helicopter or like gunship size things. For medical, there are a few more land medical vehicles, but at least the official medical presence is also tied to Gallic, and they have some flying medical ships as well. But I would say that, the police are the more overfunded side. So they have at least more of a presence than the medical does.
All right. So I would still say we probably need to. I worry if we were to try to have a security van at the premises that would get spotted as a dupe very quickly, because it's going to be primarily security people there. But people probably won't pay quite as much attention to a coroner van, you know, being there, because it's like, well, of course it's there. They got to do something with these bodies afterwards. So
we
that
could
would
also
give us,
consider it like a news media vehicle.
but they won't let news media behind the firing, like close to the
True.
space. Because we need a
But
vehicle.
maybe if we're gonna do Opera's idea of like switching out the look of the vehicle, maybe we do medical corner vehicle leaving, and then once we get to a certain point where it's obvious we're not going to a hospital or any sort of facility
over.
like that, switch over
Switch
to
it out.
The other thing we might need to do is, in the off chance that we get spotted, if we can, it might be worth having a few people to slash some tires of any ground vehicles that are nearby, just in case they try to do any sort of pursuit, or if not, slash tires. If we're in a square, just throwing down some what do they call them, like nail
Spike strips?
spike strips, there we go, throwing down some spike strips in any of the spots where the vehicles are, to try to slow that down or whatever.
I'm sure I have people that could do that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So I'm trying to think of any other potential. The airship, if we get spotted and there's an air assault of some kind, I don't know how to handle that exactly.
Would
don't know
Pixie know anything about that? Because there are nomads who do air vehicles, right?
I would say it is on the pretty rarer side, at least in this, at least, you know, in the book and whatnot. Yes, nomads can eventually get access to airships. In this particular world, it is not common for nomads to get the flying vehicles. It is possible sometimes they're able to jury-rig stuff. It is harder to get hands on that kind of technology because it is pretty much monopolized by the Galakites. But occasionally, they can make something like that happen.
Or could Opera like sabotage their navigation system or something, or communications, or
Possible.
I'm sure there's an item that's like an EMP grenade or something that's probably, if it's single use.
There is. I was checking it out as we
I
were talking.
you see what it involves, because that determines how long it takes me to make it. If it's 500 or less, I can make it in a single day.
Oh,
We have 9 days, so
Oh, well, then if
Yeah.
it's 5,000 or less, I could have it done by then.
Yeah, 9 days to get, well, definitely quite a few things done here, but it's possible.
cool. As far as, I mean, I'm hoping we won't get spotted, because the main thing is, like, for us, for when this is all going down, we probably are gonna have to be not in the van. I don't know, because the van has to get out of town and go drop them off with the nomads outside the city.
yeah.
And if we want to be able to still be able to live in Echo Center and do what we do, we need to look as innocent as possible. So I will also, since they will know that since I will have to go in as me when we do the visit ahead of time, I will probably need to stay pretty far away or hidden during a lot of this so that they don't suspect any tie to the Neon Garden. So I might hide maybe with the folks that are doing the video. I don't know. Or maybe I'll coordinate with the ballet folks. We'll see. I'll figure that out later.
I don't know how many more people you want to get involved in this, but if you want more people to get involved in this, on the escape route, we could try and have like a second vehicle that's disguised the same way and split.
I was thinking about that in case there's in case they're tracking the
Like a
vehicle in any
decoy?
way. Yeah, like a decoy, or we can do a transfer if like I think having a
Or a
backup
transfer.
vehicle. I think having a backup vehicle is not a bad plan in case the tires get shot out or something happens. Just if there's another group of nomads who can be just on call with a second vehicle to meet up with rendezvous with them in case something happens to that vehicle. Can never have, it always helps to cover your ass. So we can add that to the checklist. But yeah, Lee has to take a bio break soon. So also maybe that'd be a good chance for us to kind of make a little to-do list.
You read my mind, which I have been, constructing a to-do list as well. But yeah, you mentioned before that you are fine paying the full 1,000 EBs yourself to secure this visit. You send that over to Captain Zenner, using some sort of, again, not like a public Venmo transaction of $1,000 for a bribe. A little bit more subtle than that.
So last Friday.
And you get that sort of anonymous response saying, "All right, I'll see what I can do." So you don't have he needs time to work on it, but it seems you have secured a visit to the Margot family. And on that note, yes, let's take a quick break for a few minutes here for bio break, and also to start planning this heist in earnest. See y'all back here in a little bit. Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. So, yes, a lot of things in motion here as our friends are planning planning a heist / vanishing act / a rescue operation. Number of things here. A lot. We'll see if they have what it takes if they can pull off this particular job. Have to go for that. Oh, yep. Thanks for being here, Spider JJ. We'll catch you next time. And you can, of course, see the rest of VOD as it comes out on YouTube or Twitch. Ready? Let's bring back... I'm going to change up the music here. So, something that I did not bring up before as we addressed all these moving parts. There's one last thing that I will offer as an option. Obviously not something that you players have to bite at the hook for. But in that conversation with Captain Zenner talking about, if there's anything that he can do as far as like lightening the sentence or stopping this altogether, that is out of his hands, or at the very least, he is not willing to put his neck on the line. But he did mention that if you had an in with like one of the Galakites, maybe something could be done. And the gardener is a Galakite. He comes down here for business, but is from Acronia there, run by Galakites, mostly populated by the super rich who come there for like vacation. But as far as running things, he is one of those people up there. And there's also, of course, the cadre of Galakites that are in charge down here. So that is an option if you choose to try it. But in any case, so we have... I just... Yeah. We talked about it briefly during the break. We have a number of leads to pursue preparation for this heist. I did... yeah. So we've got a getaway vehicle locked down. We've got the visit locked down as well. I will say that after a little bit of time, it's still Wednesday. No, changed my mind. The next day, the Thursday, that is when Captain Zenner gets back to you, unless you know that he was able to arrange a visit on Monday. So that gives you a couple today's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, few days before the execution. That is when you are going to be able to visit. Obviously, it comes with a number of caveats here. The usual boilerplate of, like, you know, no weapons, no anything like that. But you've got an in. So those are the things that you have on lock. There are a number of things discussed before the break of ways to aid in this particular endeavor. Is there one in particular that you'd like to pursue first? And for the audience, sorry to cut you off immediately as you start talking. For the audience here, obviously there's a lot of moving parts in this heist. It is unlikely that we are going to finish all of this by the end of the night, but we can at least ramp up the action, the tension here. So next time, well, we'll see how those chips fall. Sorry, Bo, continue.
I guess I did want to do just a quick... I mean, you mentioned that I would have an in with the Galakites to, like, do something potentially via Mr. Rosenmaker, the gardener.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I think we've kind of got everything, at least that I can tell, that we would need, except for I just need to follow through on the VR, basically, and just see if I can arrange that. But I also want to call and, like, because we haven't heard from him in a while, and I just kind of want to check in on him real quick.
Okay.
Is that so? Can I just kind of shoot him a quick text and just be like, "Hey, can you give me a call? I feel just give me a call ASAP. That's important."
Okay. Yeah, you send this message here, and it takes some time for him to get back to you. Do you send this on the Wednesday? Kind of like that this first day, or do you wait a moment?
Yeah, that first day that we were kind of planning everything.
Okay. Yeah, it's not until the next day that you finally get a response. Normally he's busy, but this is on the longer side of his response window. Finally, he does respond with a pretty terse response in a... it's just a text that's just like, "What do you want?"
I respond with, "Haven't heard from you in a while. I'm worried about you. Are you okay?"
Yeah, I think it's more interesting. A little bit more time passes, and then you get a text just saying, "Can you talk?"
Yes, I'll do my typical squirrel away in my office. And I'm also going to do, before I call him, like, normally, obviously, there's always kind of a scramble, like, descramble thing going on with most of my calls, but I would like to, if possible, to try, just as a precautionary measure, set up some sort of call recording or something where I can trace and kind of go back. I want to be able to go back and listen to his voice to kind of scan it, because I have the ability to, like, check people's voices for. I guess I can do that while I'm talking to them, but check in for signs of stress. But also see if I can hear any sort of interference in the line or like someone else. I want to bump up the audio later and see if I can hear anybody else that's in the room with him.
Okay.
Basically run it through any sort of scanners that can give me a virtual layout of the room that he's making the call from.
Whoa. Okay. This is pretty rad. I'm gonna say.
I would like to, I don't think it's the first time Bo's done something like that, because I think Bo's incredibly curious about what goes on up there.
Mm-hmm.
But this is, I think, probably the first time he's done it out of concern for the well-being of his friend, air quotes.
Yeah. Okay. What I still think this technically, as sort of somewhat complex request this is, I still think this falls under basic tech. This agent here. Well,
it's also totally okay to say that's not possible. That was just like a thing I learned about
I think
recently
it is.
And was like,
no, I think it's really
badass.
cool. Yeah, getting some like basically like echolocation within there, like to try and get some data like that. I think in this world, in this cyberpunk world, that's certainly possible. I was sort of debating whether that would fall under basic tech or electronics. I'm going to say that
probably they're both. I think this. Oh no, basic tech I have a +2 for, but I also if it's something like that, I could also potentially just try to rope in somebody to help, because I just need to. Basically, the idea is I would just need to record the conversation. And then using technology afterwards to detect how far the sound waves are bouncing. Yeah,
let's go with that then. Let's as far as the audio mapping goes, let's address that later. For now, go ahead and roll me a basic tech check to see if you can set up this recording to have it A, good enough quality to achieve what you're after, and B, in such a way that he does not catch on.
Yeah.
I think y'all's business partnership often relies on discretion. This is something that he would watch out for.
Okay. Pretty good.
16?
16.
Pretty good. I'm going to roll. As I say, I'm going to roll behind the screen here. But with the way I have it currently set up, that's just going to pop up on the screen. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to hide the dice for a moment, make the roll, mark it down, and then hide it.
Cool. This could all be total overkill. He might be fine. Just... oh wait, was I not supposed to see that?
Nope, because Jonathan is dumb, but that's okay.
No.
A whole 3 question marks. What?
Okay. And let's rehide that. Back to the dice, the screen. Okay, so I have made a particular roll for Gardner just to see if they're able to deduce whether or not this is being recorded, like it often, or like, well, if it's being recorded, which is something at least in his line of business, something he usually watches out for, just to cover his own ass. So you do this setup here, you get it recording, and you give him a call. And he picks up.
Yes, what is it that is so urgent, Bo? There's a lot going on up here, as you may or may not be aware.
Yeah, there's a lot going on down here too. But what was his first name again? Was it
Shaw?
Shaw. There we go. I wrote down Jonathan, and I think my brain is thinking Jonathan.
If you want to be
it's just
formal,
short for Jonathan.
yeah, Shaw,
It is
short for
now.
Jonathan. It is. You know what? Sure, it is now canon, short for Jonathan. He does get offended if you use his full name, though.
Yeah, I basically just like get into like serious voice mode. I'm just like, Shaw, I'm worried about you. It's been a long time since I've heard from you, and you sound a bit stressed. What's going on?
Well, what's going on? All this anger and violence down there has made things a little bit difficult for me to run my operation up here. I have to deal, of course, with the guests that wish to go down there. I have to warn them away that it is not exactly safe for them at the moment. So I have those people complaining down my neck, asking to see my manager. It is that at least I can deal with. What I can't, what is a little bit harder to deal with, and it is only based on our prior professional relationship that I'm willing to take this call in the first place. They have been asking me quite a few questions. You are a known entity down there. You are plugged in. I know you. I work with you. They know that. So they have been grilling me, which has been making my life difficult. So if I am, I suppose, flattered that you care about my well-being in this moment, but it is going to be for the better for both of us if perhaps we take a bit of a hiatus with our business relationship. That is, unless you have something that you can tell me that can not only help clear up all of this nastiness happening down there right now, but also get them off of my back. If there is something that you wish to tell me, I can pass this along and do what I can to make sure they at least don't come down on you as much.
What exactly are they asking you? Because, I mean, frankly, I'm just a humble purveyor of goods and services. I don't really have anything to do with the mess going on with I don't know. I don't really have a head for politics.
I know that, or at least I believe I know that. But things are hanging by a thread up here. Things are very tense, given that, let's just call it what it is, revolution seems to be on the horizon. And I'm doing everything in my power to keep my head out of that.
Now, that's fair. First of all, let me apologize and say I'm so sorry that they're disturbing you and your constituents up there with making your lives difficult. That's well, that does ruffle my feathers, because that's just not very nice. And you guys are up there just doing your thing. But also, I'm a little upset that they're even messing with anybody around me, because surely they have bigger fish to fry than somebody that occasionally makes people frankly, on all sides. We don't really discriminate politically. As long as you're a nice person, we let you into the Neon Garden, you know? Like, I don't choose sides. I am the Switzerland of, well, I don't know, whatever Cyberpunk Switzerland is of, of this island. So if they want to use my space as some sort of negotiating space or some sort of neutral ground, they're welcome to use the Neon Garden for that. I just need a couple of days' notice so I can set up a space for that. Maybe if you want to offer them that. I don't have much else I can offer unless they want, a lap dance.
Well, I'm sure they do, but I think that the timing is probably less than appropriate. your neutrality that is sort of part of this attention here, part of this whole affair. Your neutrality begs the question of letting some of these rabble-rousers also use this space for their own meetings or really aiding them in any way whatsoever. It is unfortunately, your neutrality is the very reason why they are suspicious of you. And why? I don't believe I have anything to tell them at present, but that is why they're breathing down my neck as well, pressuring you for information. So if you do have
they want it from, tell them if they want to come chat to me, to come talk to me and quit bothering my stakeholders.
You've no idea how many times that I have told them that. But they are also a bit wary of taking certain direct actions down there, given the thin ice they are on as it is. If they kick the hornet's nest up too much more, well, you get the sting.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to piss off a whole civilization of people, take away the stuff that makes them happy. So, I'd recommend they don't try to close the Neon Garden, first of all, if you want to pass along that message. Second of all, there's a lot of people on their side that use the Neon Garden. So if they want to up their funding, if they want to be full investors in the Neon Garden, it can be all theirs. That's going to take a lot of money, and I don't know that they have it. Tell them to come talk to me. We'll negotiate. We can deal with that later. Tell them to leave you. Do whatever you got to do to get them to leave you alone. I don't want you stressed. What I do want, though, if before we take our little relationship break, because I hope you're not breaking up with me. That would just be that'd make me so sad. But I understand sometimes relationships, so you have to take a break, because love grows with distance sometimes. So, but before we do that, I was hoping that that fun new technology that we shared with you, I have someone who you might already know, but he would like to be among the first to test drive this fun new VR situation. Do you think I could, he is of the upper echelon, do you think I could perhaps secure a spot for them in the what do you call it? What's the term for like a Disney World when you like the preview day, when you try a new ride?
Yeah.
That thing.
Yeah. I don't know if soft open is the correct term, but yeah, like the beta testing. Sure.
Okay. If they are in the upper echelon, as you say, then I suppose I can accommodate that request. Sure.
Awesome. You're the best. All right. Well, I'll send you their information and get that all set up. But anyway, stay safe and just send anybody that's bothering you. Tell them to just come talk to me. There's no reason for you to be a middleman.
Love this. Here, go ahead and make a quick persuasion check for me.
Persuasion. 21.
21. And I'll ask you here as well, Bo. Is your concern for Rosemaker, the gardener here, like, how genuine is it?
I think it's quite genuine. I mean,
Okay.
Bo, to his own detriment, cares a lot about people in his life, even if they are not the kindest to him. But I think Shaw is somebody that has continued to, maybe not in the nicest of ways, but I like to think Shaw was also probably one of the initial investors in the Neon Garden and has been with him for a very long time. But I think Bo sees through some of the silly facade that Shaw has and sees that he's prickly, but he's a good person.
Yeah.
At least that's Bo's thought.
Yeah. Which, yeah, that does track. It is, when you went to establish the Neon Garden, just about, every investor that you talked to either wanted too much in return, or especially in the case of the Galakites, wouldn't even give you the time of day, much less investment. The gardener here, Sean Rosemaker, he saw a business opportunity. As you say, perhaps a little bit stiff, a little bit prickly, but he was willing to enter into business with you when nobody else would, at least not on the terms that you wanted. So for everything, as you say, a little bit prickly, a little bit stiff, and also is inextricably linked to the Galakites, which, well, contentious relationship with Echo Center people at best. But when you kind of offer this last thing, like trying to get them to not bother you anymore, there is a beat of silence on the other end.
You really do care about others, don't you? Even to a fault.
Of course. I care about those who care about me.
You'll have to tell me what that's like sometime. In the meantime, yes, I will. If they are in need of a neutral negotiation ground, I'll see what I can do to convince them that the Neon Garden is an appropriate venture, despite everything else that goes on there. Well, yeah. Anyway, yes. Bye.
Bye, Sean.
And he hangs up, which, yeah, there at the end, that's about as much below the surface as you've ever seen. Clearly, whatever is going on right now has him rattled, which is, again, there have been difficulties down here, but you have never seen or heard him rattled. Obviously, you can do a little bit of analysis later to see if there's any more going on here, but
To put a button on that, I will say I think Bo initially smiles at having heard in those rare moments where he hears genuine emotion, or what that manifests as from Shaw, that it kind of makes him smile because it's such a rare moment, and he loves when he gets to pull that out of him. But at the same, then he realizes, wait a second, that emotion was steeped with concern and worry and a lot of stuff behind it. And I think that smile very quickly fades when he's like, oh shit. Yeah. Because he just basically lied not lied, but I guess left out some details, I guess. But this isn't even exactly political for Bo. I think he's just trying to save innocent people. So anyway.
Okay. Okay. So that conversation has taken place. So yeah, you also make good on your promise to get to get Zener in on the short list for the VR stuff. So that is, I would say, taken care of. All right. And I'm gonna say that I think before we get too far away, then go ahead and make a. This actually, as you said, like you can recruit somebody. This feels a little bit more up, potentially Opera's alley as far as having this slightly more complex auditory algorithm for trying to map out wherever this is. If that makes sense to you. So, Opera, if I can get you to please make an electronics tech check, please. What is with these rolls tonight, y'all?
Yes!
Hold hot dang. Okay, with a
And
critical
here
success
I
into a
saw
27.
Galakites for keeping all of the good technology for themselves. Turns out that they're running their entire society on 2 potatoes on the end of a string.
In
To be
your
fair,
eyes,
isn't Billy on a potato? Or run with a potato or something?
Ugh, don't remind me, it's gross. Also, are you gonna get me like a new potato or anything? Because this one, I mean, I would love to not be in a potato, but can you at least put me one that doesn't smell anymore? God.
We'll figure it out.
Billy, I am beginning to have a serious problem with this new attitude. This is the 3rd time you have refused to go and get information when I have requested. You have literally stopped trying to make fetch happen.
He's finding himself. Do you even go to this school?
Well played.
I just realized you in response to that, Opera, you just get a ugh. Excellent. So yeah, with that 27 check here, you do get an auditory vague, like it's not a perfect recreation, but you can at least sort of get an idea of where this is taking place, or like the surroundings of this call. This was a pretty high DC to pull off because, though a very cool idea, pretty wild. You in this 3D mapping, you do of course see like an outline. The clearest is like of his face, of his body here, like standing where he is, and with a roll that good, I would say you get at least like a little bit of data on the fluctuations over the course of the conversation, and based on stuff like the body movements, and even because the agent is like right here, seeing some of the expressions, you do get what you were. I will say that is going to bypass the need for any like further human perception here. It is pretty clear that that concern that you were talking about, that you were hearing before, is legitimate. There, like he does seem pretty harried here. He is not at his best. Not that you, which is what you are like very familiar with. So this is he's off his game, which is new. The other thing that you pick up is that there seem to be 2 other people in the room with him, having listened to at least his end of the conversation. And I'm gonna make one more. I'm gonna make one more secret roll here. Cool. In analyzing this, there are 2 other bits of information that come to light. One, based on some of the clothing that you don't get too many details on the other 2 figures in this room. The room itself seems to be on the more modestly sized, not quite as big as you would have expected. I would say at this point, despite your standing business relationship with the gardener, you have never been invited to go up actually into his offices or anything in Acronia. this room is a little bit smaller than you would have expected. You pick up that the bits of his like clothing and attire that you can figure out are a little bit distressed. Seems like he is not his immaculate self in the moment of this phone conversation. And you also, with that 27 in analyzing this footage, you did not see or hear. Actually, I will. Bo, go ahead and make a human perception check for me with regards to one specific thing.
Okay.
19.
Yeah.
9 on the die. You, with that 27 electronics check, you do detect, you pick up a little bit of like just some like an odd click, an audio artifact in there. It would seem that his side was recording the conversation as well. And with a 19 human perception check, you get the sense that he was aware that you were recording. Like it's just like there's just a moment of hesitation at some point, and like just a very subtle shift in tone, the way he was directing the conversation. You can't say for certain, but you are pretty sure that he was aware this was a double recorded conversation.
Do I think that? I guess I wouldn't know necessarily. Okay, my line of thought was like, he knows, but do the other two in the room know? But presumably they are the ones that set up the recording. So yeah, that would make sense.
Could be.
Interesting. Okay.
And again, I will say, because this is a critical success with the 27, you don't get all the details of the other two figures in the room, but you get some vague shapes that they seem to have some armament to them.
Sounds like I would Lee/Bo would piece together that they have been somewhat roughly interrogating the gardener, which would absolutely. I think Bo will have to like squash down some feelings of wanting to go like want to go right on up there and whoop some butts, but it's that's gonna sit heavy with Bo, because he doesn't. The idea that anybody would get hurt, anybody that he cares about would get hurt, to keep him safe or whatever, it does not sit well with him. Even if it is, a 1%er.
Yeah, he has become a person of interest, it would seem.
But yeah, all right. So it's good to know. Something to keep in mind for sure. But I don't want to hug any more times.
Okay. No, that is good. Again, better y'all talking than me yapping on without end. Okay, so that is taken care of. So yeah, a couple of other things to take care of. In the meantime, we've got the potential visual disruption such pyrotechnics, the blackout, incognito vehicle to get the family from the event, the execution, to the getaway vehicle, potential things to try and disrupt any potential pursuit, some way to try and frame these gainsaid, and then some like direct recruiting, amongst others, at least Opera trying to recruit people of his circle there, the Technohemians, to be amongst the crowd. At this point, I would also say that Everybody make a streetwise check for me. It's not one we often do. Cool.
You know what?
Cool.
I'm gonna burn some luck on this just because my streetwise skill is crap.
Okay. Fair enough.
So I'll spend like 5. Yep, still didn't work.
Wow, wowza! Even with 5 luck points, that is okay. That is okay. There's a lot of skills in Cyberpunk. Can't be good at all of them. So 12, 10, 12, and 11. This also at least tracks a little bit. Yeah, Opera, you got the same roll, but it makes sense that Bo at least would pick up first. By the next day, so like by, you know, as Thursday drags on, it is hard to miss that, and you start seeing it in some of the other scream sheets as well, the ones that you actually read, that there are people rallying around the cause for the Margot family. Like, people know them and love them for the magic show, even if they may or may not know about the other business that nomads get up to, but at least publicly, it's a magic show. Some people grew up watching these shows. And so then eventually it does come out on the scream sheets. Would it come out the next day? No, I think the direct sentencing has not come out yet. We'll say it's still Thursday, but you start seeing and hearing people using that as another rallying point for these protests that are getting a little bit more rambunctious, as like sort of the I would say it does pick up a little bit as the protests get a little bit more rambunctious, but there is now at least, like, Bo, you've got your kind of finger to the pulse here. There's a little bit of fear that is starting to come in, like it would seem as if this example is at least starting to work, of people being afraid. It's like, well, maybe I'll be arrested next. Like, along with all the cries saying that these are trumped up charges, then there are people who are like, well, if they can hit them with trumped up charges, that could be me too. And so the net gain is still a bit of an increase, but there's a little bit of hesitation amongst the people of Echo Center now. So that is what you get there. I'm going to say for I'm going to go ahead. It's not something that we've touched on a bunch, but I'm going to say that I'm going to bump y'all's reputation level up to 2. So I'm going to say specifically for some word has gotten around that you were... So the rumors have gotten around that you managed to fight off and kill these Gainshead that you dealt with, as well as rescuing Maverick, like, from certain death, especially under the nose of the security force. So it's only whispers here. What it's got here, the description for reputation level 2, stories have gotten around to immediate friends. So that is what you've got here. But that also gives a little bit more fire in the tanks for any face down rolls. So that is the main thing that reputation mechanically is tied to, is the face down things. But I would also say unmechanically, it will, like, for these like recruiting stuff, if you continue sort of making a little bit of a splash, a little bit of your name for yourselves, your reputation will go up, as will your notoriety will go up, with all the upsides and downsides that entails.
So you said we need to. Do we add a point to reputation or no?
Mhm. I believe y'all are currently at 0, if memory serves. I'm going to go ahead and bump y'all up to 2.
I'm at 3.
Oh.
That's because you gave Bo extra just due to his notoriety.
Okay. That's right. I had forgotten that I had done that since that was, I think, a long time ago.
So mine might just stay the same if it's the same level of notoriety I already have.
Yeah. I think that I will... Yeah, what I will do is I'm going to bump everybody up to 3. So pull everybody. If your reputation is less than 3, go ahead and set it there now. If I would say, even though you are like trying to lay a little bit on the lower side, which is fair, we have at least already seen some evidence of people taking notice of you all and your skills. I mean, we had a bit of a... Yeah, already had a door visit for Opera. So, in any case, so there are a number of things I'd like to accomplish. Let's looking at the clock here. This actually, yeah, I know we lost a little bit of time due to a restart at the beginning, but I think before we get into anything else, looking at the clock, let's go ahead and call it there. That will give both myself time to think about some things that our team is going to take on, as well as give the team some time to think about the execution of some of the preparations that they've got in mind. So let me flip this music here. Boop. Fantastic. Great. So yes, that is the end of the session. Let's not waste any time here. Any plugs? Raise your hand if there are any plugs for yourself or adjacent things that you would like to plug. Yes, Angela.
System Agnostic, this Thursday, 7 p.m. It's the final chapter. We all woke up in a sphere, Matrix style, and things are trying to kill us. So come watch; it'll be fun.
Woo. Yeah, sounds pretty hairy here. So yes, tune in to System Agnostic for the final chapter. See where this Matrix sphere leads our gang. I've gotten to catch at least a little bit of System Agnostic, and yeah, some really cool stuff going on there that Steven is in charge of. So go ahead and check it out, along with the other shows currently on stream. That includes Once Upon a Town and Once Upon a Town, other folks like that. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Untitled Mafia Project is on hiatus for the time being.
It is on hiatus for the time being.
Hiatus. That used to be on Saturdays, but hiatus does mean that it will eventually return, of course. Any other plugs? Very good. So then one thing that I know, that's the one. Let's see, Discord communication. Sorry, there's some specific wording. We're trying to have a little bit more solidarity and whatnot for communicate. Yeah, that's the one. Nope. Sorry, I meant to bring this up earlier. Yes, that's the one. Getting a little bit more official, like, solidarity of attributions and credits and sponsorships, things like that for our Twitch channel here. So I will lead things off by saying, yes, our stream here, Quelmar, is sponsored by Arkenforge. They is a spectacular virtual tabletop here. Oh, there it is. It did not want to load. Yeah, so Arkenforge, great virtual tabletop tool, VTT. It's the all-in-one toolkit for game masters to run games in person or online. It's got maps, music, tokens, and more. And it comes with a 28-day free trial, and is the engine behind Quelmar campaigns like the Beggar's Bodega, as well as Get Submodule, the Paranoia campaign that is the spiritual predecessor of this one. And you can use the Quelmar Forge, that as a promo code. I'm going to put that into the chat. Use the code the Quelmar Forge for $5 off your purchase of the Master's Toolkit today. I will also toss in, as usual, that it is particularly good for in-person campaigns. It's got inbuilt tools for if you shoot out that feed to a monitor for your table, it does have inbuilt where you can split it between DM view and player view, so you don't accidentally give things away, like, say, for example, the earlier dice roll that I made in the feed here. It's fine. As well as some mini tracking technology if you want to get really fancy. Other attributions, VoiceMod's music background. Today that was all tabletop audio and VoiceMod. And last couple of things. I did mention at the top of the stream when we apparently did not have audio, so I will just say so again. Come check out, if you are in the Washington, D.C. area, come check out AwesomeCon in June. The Quelmar realm will be there in official capacity. We officially have a table there at the convention. It's got tons of wonderful nerdery there for you, as Comic-Cons tend to do. It's a big one. A lot of voiceover guests in particular. So if you like voiceover guests, if you like nerds, like the Quelmar realm, come check us out. And if you are in and around the Washington, D.C. area, part of the Quelmar realm, and you'd like to help us run that table, we're going to be there all weekend. So yeah, come go ahead and let me know, contact Quelmar if you're interested in perhaps helping run the table and talk to people about our nonprofit. Yes, we are a charity organization, lest we forget. Also in June, of course, is actually the weekend before AwesomeCon, is QuelmarCon 2023. It is here in Maryland, about 45 minutes or so northwest of DC. So come to the convention. It's our big annual event. Speaking of a bunch of nerds, and then if you still want to hang out with more nerds, you didn't get your convention fill that weekend, come in the next weekend for AwesomeCon. Either or both, all the above. What have you. That I believe. Oh, and last but not least, if you are interested in learning more about our charity organization here, go ahead and check out Quelmar.world. That is our main website. It has links to all the things that we are involved in, as well as our mission. Our mission as a charity and all the fun things that we're up to, as well as the Discord channel there. That is our main venue of communication. That is in-person games, virtual games, volunteer opportunities, lending library, QuelmarCon. That is where you're going to find the vast majority of people to come and play games with. That, I believe, is all of the business. Yep. So, on that note, that is all that I've got, everybody. Last but not least, yes, as Unlikely Gamer, who could that be, has redeemed in the chat, as well as Coffee Vampire. Also, no idea who that could be. Let's one last the thing that we always do to close out our streams here. 3, 2, 1.
Keep rolling,
rolling
the dice.
dice.
I guess, or whatever. Okay, bye.
Bye.